Hello everyone. This video is an introductory statistics video titled Qualitative versus Quantitative Data and Discrete Data versus Continuous Data. So in this video, I'm going to be on the website openstacks.org and working through their introductory statistics text. This is a free online textbook. And I'm in section 1.2 called Data, Sampling, and Variation in Data and Sampling. And I'm only going to be doing the part of it that's on qualitative data and quantitative data. And in the quantitative data category, we're going to break down the difference between discrete quantitative data and continuous quantitative data. And I'll be doing some exercises and examples. All right. So data may come from a population or from a sample. Lowercase letters like X or Y generally are used to represent data values. Most data can be put into the following categories. We have qualitative data and quantitative data. Qualitative data are the result of categorizing or describing attributes of a population. So qualitative data are also often called categorical data. And they give some examples here, right? Hair colors, blood types, ethnic groups, right? The car a person drives, street a person lives on, right? These are all examples of qualitative or categorical data, right? They're labels, categories, qualities. Right, again, you can read more of the rest. I'm not going to read everything to you. I'm assuming you're reading through this as well. Now, the other type of data they mention, quantitative data, are always numbers. They're numbers that are the result of counting or measuring attributes of a population. So an amount of money, right? You're counting. A pulse rate, right? Measuring. Weight, measuring. Number of people living in your town, right? Counting. Number of students who take statistics, right? That's something you would count. Those are just some examples of quantitative data. And then they break quantitative into two different categories. Quantitative data may be either discrete or continuous. All data that are the result of counting are called quantitative discrete data. Right, these data take on only certain numerical values. Right, again, some examples here. If you count the number of phone calls you receive for each day of the week, you might get values such as 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. And you don't, those are the only kinds of values you can get would be, whole numbers. You wouldn't get 1.5 calls or 1.75 calls, anything in between these. So they take on, certain numerical values. Not always whole numbers, but I like to think of quantitative discrete data as things you can count on your fingers, right? That you can actually keep track of and count an amount on your hands. Now, the other type of quantitative data is continuous. Data that are not only made up of counting numbers, but that may include fractions, decimals, or irrational numbers even, right? All the in-between numbers are called quantitative continuous data. And continuous data are often the results of measurements, right? So not just counting, but actually measuring, most often with some sort of special measuring tool, right? Like lengths, where you would need some sort of ruler or, length measuring device. Weights with scales, times with clocks, or, again, other time recording devices. So a list of lengths in minutes, right, for all the phone calls that you make in a week with numbers like 2.4, 7.5, 11.0, right? It's a measurement of time. So that those measurements, a measurement, anything that's measured, like a measurement of time here, would be considered quantitative continuous. And then, of course, they give some examples. I'll let you read through the examples and try the try it problems. So there's a few of them here. And then you can see that I would recommend trying to work it out before you show or show the solutions. And it goes like this until the next part of this section, which is a discussion of quantitative data, or qualitative, my apologies. So a qualitative data discussion, which I'll get to in another subsequent video. Alright, so for some practice problems. Now, there's practice in this book at the end of every chapter, and there's also homework. Alright, they are different, but they're both, helping you practice the material, practice the topics. So under the 1.2 area, some questions don't have solutions listed, whereas other questions have a link on them, and if you click on the link, it'll take you to a solution, and then you can click on the link to go back. So for number 6 in the practice area, number of times per week is what type of data? All right, well, it's a number that is counted. 1 time a week, 2 times per week, 3 times per week that something occurs. So it's a number that is counted. So that would be a quantitative discrete type of data. And that's all we're asked to do for a lot of these exercises. All right, then duration, right? Amount of time for question 8. If I'm measuring an amount of time, like with the phone calls that were mentioned in the text earlier, it's a number that is measured, not so much counted. So that would be quantitative continuous, right? C. Quantitative continuous, some numerical value that is a measurement. Whereas opposed to number 9, see the colors of the houses around the park are what kind of data? Colors of houses: red, blue, brown, white. Their labels, their names, their categories, their qualities, right? So colors of houses being recorded, that would be a qualitative type of data, or categorical. So I'm hoping this is pretty easy to understand. And you can, again, click on, this one isn't usually, it's the odd numbered problems. You can click on the link on the number, it'll take you to the solution. See, it says A, click on the link, it takes me right back to that question in the practice. It was A, qualitative data. All right, then in the homework, again, I'm just going to kind of state these. Hopefully you can follow along by listening. Not really going to write so much. So for the following exercises, identify the type of data that would be used to describe a response. Quantitative discrete, quantitative continuous, or qualitative, or categorical. So in exercise 53, the number of tickets sold to a concert. This is something, it's a number that can be counted. 1 ticket, 2 tickets, 3 tickets, 4 tickets, and so on. So I would say that this type of data is quantitative discrete. Right, and once again, let's check what they have. I'm sure it's the same. Right. See, quantitative discrete, right, and they give an example, 150 tickets, something that can be counted. 54% of body fat. All right, this is something that would be measured by calipers or some sort of special body fat measuring device. So any numerical quantity that's measured, right, would be quantitative continuous. 55, a favorite baseball team. Well, baseball teams have names, labels. The Detroit Tigers, the Oakland A's, as you saw when I clicked over to the solutions, the Philadelphia Phillies, or it could be a minor league team like the Toledo Mud Hens or something. But this is definitely qualitative or categorical data. As you can see, again, clicking on the link, we can see what they said, right? Qualitative, and their example is the Oakland Athletics. 56, time in line to buy groceries. Again, time is a measurement. You measure time with, a clock, a watch, right? Some special device. So being a numerical measurement, this type of data I would say was quantitative continuous. 57, number of students enrolled at Evergreen Valley College. Again, it's a number of students. I can count this. This does not need to be measured, right? It's counted. 1 student, 2 students, 3 students, 4 students, 5 students, etc. And I'm not going to click on the link here, but this is definitely a quantitative discrete type of data, something that can be counted. The most watched television show. Well, this is names, right? The name of a show. Mad Men, Breaking Bad, American Idol, whatever, right? They're labels, qualities, right? Qualitative or categorical data. Brand of toothpaste, a brand is a label. Crest, Colgate, Rembrandt, those are labels. A qualitative type of data. Distance to the closest movie theater, right? Distance is measured, right? You measure distance with a special device, a ruler, an odometer, whatever. Right? Distance would be then quantitative continuous. Age of executives in Fortune 500 companies. Now, age, depending on how you look at it, age can be thought of as time passed, right? You measure time, but usually age is measured in years, right? And years can be counted. I am, 1 year old, 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old. Sometimes we throw halves in there or something, but I would say that age is something that we count. So, in my opinion, this would be a quantitative discrete type of data. But let's see what they're saying. Just curious. And they're saying quantitative continuous because it is a time. Alright, so a little matter of opinion there. I don't know too many people, when asked how old they are, they would say 47.3 years. I mean, so I guess just to be consistent with the rest of the text, we'll say quantitative continuous here because it is a measure of time, even though I would personally say, common sense tells me when you ask someone their age, record an age, it's in years, and those can be counted. So it's really a matter of perspective there. And then finally, number 62, this will be the last one I talk about. The number of competing computer spreadsheet software packages. And it's a number, and this is something that's counted, right? There's one package, two packages, three packages that are competing, four packages, five packages, right? There's only specific numbers to be counted here. So I would say this was a quantitative discrete measurement, quantitative discrete type of data. And of course there are other exercises, but I will leave more of those to you. I just wanted to get through this one group here. And apart from this concept of age, I'd say most of these were pretty clear, right? If it's something to be measured, that's quantitative continuous. If it's some number to be counted one at a time, that's quantitative discrete. And if it's just some sort of name or category or label, that is qualitative or categorical data. Right. And I hope you have a good time reading through this part of section 1.2 and practicing the exercises, examples, and try it problems from the text on your own. And thank you very much for watching.